Hi everybody, it's David from Doctors of Running, and today I wanted to talk about my initial impressions of the On Cloudflow 4. This is a daily trainer, performance trainer, lightweight trainer, whatever we want to call it from On. This is a new generation model for them with a couple of big updates from the previous Cloudflow series. Some things to note: there is a nylon speed board that runs relatively flat with a decent amount of toe spring in the front. Spec-wise, it is on the lighter end. It's 8.2 ounces or 235 grams. It is an 8mm drop. They don't usually publish stack heights for heel and forefoot with On models, but they do give you the drop. So it's an 8mm drop. We'll take what we will with it. On their website, it is aimed at a relatively low cushion standpoint, road running shoe, and meant to turn up the pace a little bit if you want to. I did 10 miles in it just now, earlier this morning, and wanted to talk about some of the things I noticed. So I actually really liked the Cloudflow 4 on initial impressions. When we feel this shoe, it is on the firmer side. Most On shoes tend to be on the firmer side, but I still felt like there was enough protection. I will say I definitely noticed that toe spring up front, and it actually felt really nice. When we were looking at transitions, there's a very, very mild heel bevel. It's not a whole lot going on there, but they do a good job with the sidewalls. The foam does have a little bit of compression when you land onto it, and you kind of pitch forward onto that midfoot rather quickly. From there, there's a lot of toe spraying up front. So you're kind of constantly in this rolling feeling, and it's a very nimble feeling shoe. The upper takes a lot of inspiration from the Cloudboom Echo. This is also on their website. It actually does have a pretty good performance feel to it. It locks down pretty well. I would still say the dimensions are relatively normal. I wouldn't quite go into that performance racing category. When we look at this, it's a pretty normal heel there, normal midfoot. The volume, there's definitely more volume in this than there is in the Cloudboom Echo. But the material itself is actually reinforced pretty well. There's a light amount of stretch to it, but it actually holds its structure really well. So like turns, running, like it feels pretty good, and it feels pretty dialed in once you lace that shoe down. The laces are on the thinner end. They can slide a tiny bit, but I mean, I didn't have any issues with it untying. I double knot everything, and it seemed to do fine. I did not need to heel lock it. But yeah, locked down well. It reminded me a lot from a ride standpoint of something like a Nike Pegasus and the On Cloudboom Echo, which are two very different shoes, but that toe spring is very reminiscent of the Cloudboom Echo, and it does kind of have this snappy, light, performance-y feel to it, but it still feels like it's on that trainer daily running side of things as well. So they actually did a really good job blending that together, and that was noticeable. I felt very forward the entire time, but at the same time, I could kind of sit back a little bit as well. So very balanced in the heel and midfoot, and then a pretty aggressive toe spring rocker up front. So you kind of always feel like you're rolling forward. I didn't notice any issues. There's some decent hills on my run today. I didn't notice any issues with going uphill, like if I was rolling off of it too much, or on the downhill, like slapping too much or kind of losing my footing or something like that because of the toe spring. So all in all, it was actually a pretty balanced package. This is one of my more favorite initial impressions of the year so far. And it's funny because the previous On Cloudflows were very flat, and they felt like they just felt very low to the ground, firm, flat, a little bit more flexibility. There's definitely more firmness in the Cloudflow 4 than the previous models, so that speed board is definitely noticeable. But yeah, I mean, they did a great job. This is a balanced shoe. Daily training, probably performance running is fine. I haven't done a workout in it yet, but you probably could. Long tempo runs, things like that, I wouldn't hesitate to do it. Long runs, it would definitely depend on the runner, what they're comfortable with, but it felt fine for 10 miles for me today. So yeah, those are my initial impressions on the On Cloudflow 4.